Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got news out of Kinston, some good news, and that the historic Lewis School has been purchased by Kinston Teens, a youth-centered organization. Now, they've purchased the historic Lewis School building, saying that this is just one step in the organization's mission to revitalize the city. According to a news release, the school has been closed since 1990, sitting vacant and becoming neglected. Now, the group is asking community members to volunteer in the site's repairs and upkeep, like mowing the grass or debris cleanup. Now, for more information or to donate to Kinston Teens Cause, you can follow a link on our website, WITN.com. Now, we also want to turn our attention to the world of politics that is right now surrounding the Trump administration and the Federal Reserve, as one of the Board of Governors has now again been accused of fraud. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has more.
Overnight, President Trump taking his pressure on the Federal Reserve to a new level, firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook in a social media post. He'd been threatening to do so for days.
Yeah, fire her if she doesn't resign. Yeah, what she did was bad.
Trump pointing to allegations of mortgage fraud. Cook responding, President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists under the law. I will not resign. The president has repeatedly railed against the Fed and its chairman, Jerome Powell, for not lowering interest rates and making it cheaper for Americans to borrow money. Powell has resisted the move due to inflation concerns, though he recently signaled it may happen next month.
You should have cut him a year ago.
The president also testing his executive power yesterday in his fight with Democratic leaders of multiple states, signing an executive order that would create new specialized National Guard units to be deployed in cities for police work.
We want to go from here to other places.
The president crediting his recent federal takeover of the D.C. Police Department for an immediate drop in crime.
Washington, D.C., sir, has not had a murder in 11 days. If you go back and check, it's been many years since we went a week without having a murder.
We did check, and earlier this year, Washington did go more than 2 weeks without a murder. Trump signaling he wants to move troops to other cities like Chicago. But Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a Democrat, is calling the president a wannabe dictator.
This is not about fighting crime. This is about Donald Trump searching for any justification to deploy the military in a blue city, in a blue state, to try and intimidate his political rivals.
A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person.
And again, that was Gabe Gutierrez reporting. We now turn to your weather forecast, where again today, the biggest noticeable change we're feeling from yesterday to today, air temperatures and humidity. Yesterday, we were looking at air temps in the mid to upper 80s by this point in the day. Right now, here's where we're at in Washington, a flat 80-degree reading. Northerly wind at 7 miles an hour is helping keep that humidity down. About 10 degrees cooler in that humidity from where we were just 2 days ago. 80 degrees right now feels like 81. So there is still a little bit of a heat index, but it's certainly not one you're going to notice as you step outside. In fact, you're going to notice the lack of humidity present, even more so as we head into tomorrow and Thursday. Overnight lows tonight and tomorrow night in the upper 50s will help really reinforce that cool air feeling and the feeling like September's already here. It's not, but we're certainly getting closer to it. Now, this again is also, I'm anticipating it's going to end up being a classic one of those fake fall moments where we will eventually snap back to, again, some heat and humidity coming up in September. Right now, we don't have anything like that on your 8-day forecast. We'll get to that coming up in just a few moments. But again, do want to give you guys an idea that yeah, this cooler and drier air, it's going to be sticking around for at least the rest of the week and most likely through the holiday weekend. Now, the rain not really seeing a whole lot of it right now, even though we've got quite a bit of green on the screen. A lot of that green is low-level clouds that the radar is actually picking up as rain. So for now, we may see a few stray drops around the Pamlico and Albemarle Sound, but certainly nothing that's going to be widespread and certainly nothing that's going to be heavy. Mostly because, again, without the humidity, we don't have as much moisture in the air, and without as much moisture, you're going to get lighter rain showers or even no rain at all. Right now, air temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s throughout many inland areas. Once you get on the eastern side of Highway 17, again, you're looking more at the low 80s. A few areas, Elizabeth City, Manio, still in the upper 70s, but overall, the big takeaway is that it's much cooler than yesterday and the humidity is actively falling. Here's a look at your current dew points. Most of us reading in the 50s and 60s. And when compared to where we've been over the past 24 hours, the majority of eastern North Carolina is showing a drop in humidity. That is encouraging, something we don't usually get to see through the month of August. However, this year, 2025, this year's August has been quite a bit different. We've had a few rounds of these kind of cool snaps where we end up with cooler than average air temperatures and lower humidity levels. And the lower humidity is being brought in by this right here, the winds out of the north. So long as we maintain a northerly wind, regardless of wind speed, so long as we maintain that northerly wind, it is going to help keep that cooler and drier air present over eastern North Carolina. So yeah, wind speeds right now, not all that impressive. Unless, of course, you're watching along the northern Outer Banks, where we do have a 14-mile-an-hour sustained breeze at this point. But inland areas, right around a 4 to 8 mile per hour breeze. That could bump up to around a 5 to 10 mile per hour breeze later on this afternoon. But again, winds aren't going, at least wind speeds aren't going to be the main focus. Wind direction will be a little bit more important over the coming days, but air temperatures and humidity likely going to be stealing the show. Now, again, we could see a few spot showers around the Sounds coming up later on this afternoon and into the evening. For tomorrow morning, starting out mostly sunny. There could again be another stray pop-up shower near the coast where we will have some of that higher humidity just thanks to the proximity to the Atlantic Ocean. But without that humidity, it gets really difficult to get rain to fall, which is why areas on the western side of Highway 17 are largely going to be left without rain for this week. Just not enough moisture in the air. It's something we don't usually get to say in the month of August. So let's take you through exactly what we're going to be tracking as we head not only through the rest of today, but into tomorrow. That area of high pressure, again, only reinforcing that northeasterly wind flow, but not a lot of action really following it. You will see that area of low pressure towards Kansas and Oklahoma. And that's going to continue to try to inch towards eastern North Carolina, but may end up actually drifting a little bit too far south to truly impact us. And if it does, in fact, move south of us, that is only going to reinforce that cooler and drier air. Because on the north side of a low pressure system, usually you're running into cooler and drier air. On the south side, it's warm and humid. Now, we do need to highlight the tropics. We don't have a lot going on, but we're still tracking Tropical Storm Fernan. 40-mile-an-hour maximum sustained winds, gusts up to 50 miles an hour with pressure at 1,007 millibars, moving northeast at 13 miles an hour. Now, this is a system we'll continue to keep you up to date on, but certainly not one you're going to need to worry about, as it is dying out already. It is ragged, and it really only has maybe about 24 to 36 hours left before the Hurricane Center throws up its hands and says, you know what, this thing is just too degraded to call it a tropical storm anymore. It's now a post-tropical low. That's expected to happen by the time we get to, I'd say, Wednesday, tomorrow, maybe at around lunchtime. But again, regardless, that not going to affect your forecast. Here's a look at your full 8-day forecast. To put it into perspective, normal for this time of year, for your daytime highs, upper 80s. So around 87 to about 90 degrees. Overnight lows tend to sit right around the low 70s, 70 degrees all the way up to around 74. So looking at, again, all of the numbers on this 8-day forecast, each and every day over the next 8 days is going to be below average in terms of not only your daytime highs and your overnight lows, but also your dew points, because dew points tie very closely to those overnight lows. So when you've got below average overnight lows, you're going to have below average humidity. That's something you can easily just take away from that 8-day forecast. Going to be feeling very comfortable all the way through the holiday weekend. Yeah, we may have a few rain showers at times coming up on Friday and Saturday, but right now, again, doesn't look like anything super intense or anything that warrants any sort of big concern. That's all we have time for today's 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday.
This hour of the WITN First Alert Desk is sponsored by Supreme Choice.